Sweet.
How are you doing? How's your day?
Yo, I'm so beaten. This heat got me like fucked up. Like it just makes you feel like the life is being sucked out of you.
Oh
Even with
yeah,
the AC, it's just so humid,
even with
and
that
I'm so
passing rain that
tired.
we had like yesterday,
Crap.
that was nothing, no cool.
What's up,
All right.
everybody? Thank you for being here. It's your girl BMF Goddess. You already know my returning co-host Kiara, Miss
What
Lullaby.
up? What up? Yeah,
So,
glad to be back.
how you been?
Going through things here and there, but strong and survivor. That's what I am.
Facts. Strong, fierce women only.
You already know. We we don't deal with the weak ones. This is Sparta.
They can't handle us. Let's just
You
say
can't
that.
handle the truth.
Oh my god, I fucking love your laugh.
Handle the truth. Like, this is gonna be serious, you guys. We're getting all the jokes out now.
Yeah, this is gonna be a really tough subject.
Yes.
I honestly have a little bit of anxiety just knowing I'm gonna speak about it, but I'm doing this for a purpose. This is for all the people who have suffered through this and can relate and are still traumatized by what they went through. We're here for you to talk today.
Yes.
And
Like,
we're both gonna share our stories.
I'm not gonna lie. We all know that when I get on these podcasts, it's like I know what I'm talking about. I know I'm ready. Da da da. But I don't think that when it comes to a topic such as rape, because we might as well use the word. Get used to it now. That it's just not as easy. It's not as easy to come out and talk about it. And that is the main thing when it comes to most of these cases is people can't talk about it or they don't have a safe place to talk about it, and that's why we created this safe space for today.
Right. Absolutely. So,
With that being said,
let's get started.
So do we have any facts? We're just going in stories. How are we doing this today?
I'm gonna start with the term sexual assault. This refers to a range of behaviors that involve unwanted sexual contact or behavior. This includes actual and attempted rape as well, or unwanted sexual touching. Sexual assault occurs with alarming frequency in the United States. According to the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men will experience sexual violence that includes physical contact at some point in their lives. And that's so much. Additionally, survivors of childhood sexual assault have an increased likelihood of being assaulted again in adulthood. I think that's true too. That has happened to me. A person who has been sexually assaulted would generally experience high levels of distress immediately after. The trauma of being assaulted can leave you feeling scared, angry, guilty, anxious, and sad. The stigma associated with sexual assault can cause some to feel embarrassed or ashamed. In addition, survivors of sexual assault have an increased likelihood of developing symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, aka PTSD. For example, nightmares or intrusive thoughts and memories may occur. They may feel as if they are always in danger or need to be always on guard or may distrust people.
Definitely ties back to our mental health things that we've done in the past, So it's a hard topic. It's just continue. My bad.
Yeah, no, it's okay. For those that don't know, post-traumatic stress disorder is a mental health condition in which people experience a variety of symptoms after a person has been through a traumatic event in their life, as for example, being sexual assault. PTSD is fairly common among sexual assault victims, with one study that shows that roughly 70% of sexual assault victims experience significant levels of trauma. I know that I had this issue too. I used to have nightmares. It's pretty much stopped for that. I have PTSD for other shit, but I definitely I can relate to that. How about you, Kiara?
Honestly, I definitely do relate to it on multiple statures. Such as people who have been sexually assaulted are bound to get sexually assaulted, or not bound to, but are more likely to be sexually assaulted again, because that has happened to me on multiple occasions. Anybody who knows what I really look like would see why, and it does. It's also the fact of the PTSD messing with your emotions, messing with your mind in a set, because it also depends on the situation itself. Everybody has different types of, assault stories, and it's hard, it's really hard. It takes a real toll on people. Some people just, they develop a social anxiety afterwards, where they don't really trust anyone around them after that.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. And this is being 1 to 3 women and 1 to 4 in men. I appreciate that you did throw men in there. Some people will just focus on the women, and that's not fair, because there are actually quite a few young men who have been taken advantage of, whether it was as children or as adults. So the fact of, once again, we're doing what we do best, and we're not making it a gender bias. We will never have gender bias on the show. That's a fact.
Right, because it definitely happens to men, not as much, but enough to make an impact.
I don't think that it's not as much. It's just men are less likely to report it, because what's the first thing people?
That too. That could definitely be true.
That's all they see. Oh, you got quote unquote raped by a woman, so you must have enjoyed it. That's not how that works. But yeah. Some of these men, you don't know what their sexuality is. If a gay man gets harassed by a woman, it's rape, because of the fact that that's not his sexuality. Even if it is his sexuality, no means no, both genders.
Right, and for the males, most are more likely to happen even as children. Like, imagine, it's a hard scenario to imagine a woman doing that to a male child. It's crazy. But it happens.
And I'm not gonna lie. Apparently, it wasn't brought to my attention until a couple months ago. That there is someone going around, and they are calling me a rapist, and I understand why, because them and I had a conversation about it. I guarantee you guys,
and they're serious.
I'm not. I guarantee you I am not. After that incident, this person and I were living together. We chilled. We were friends. But after the living with each other, that's when all of a sudden he wanted to start slandering my name. This is such a sensitive topic, because there's so many ways that it goes. Sometimes it can be that you're being accused of it and it's not happening. The times where it is happening and you don't know, that you have that fight or flight. It's either I'm going to be very loud about what's happening, or I shut down. Again, there's men who don't speak up because they're supposed to be a man. What is a man if he's going to complain about things? What is a man who's going to complain about sex? It's such a hard topic, and that's why I'm so happy that we are touching this topic. We are talking about this. We're hopefully going to reach out to people and have them open up more. I feel like people need to open up more.
Right. It's tough, but when you speak about it and you put it more in, out there in people's faces, every little thing is just an opportunity to help make a change. The statistics on rape, first of all, over 2020, it skyrocketed.
Oh my gosh!
Like what was it? Sorry, I'm looking up the statistics right now. This is for only for New York City. So imagine for the whole world. Like,
I was reading it earlier. Okay, continue with your facts. I'll tell you what I found afterwards.
For New York City, they had over 2020, it was 133 rapes in New York City. That is crazy. Mm-hmm. And then over that past time, so now it went up to 842.
Oh my God, that's a huge jump. That's about a 700 jump right there.
That's nuts.
Does it say the genders? Like, does it say, like, you know, if it was men, women, like how it's?
No, they don't specify. No.
Yeah, I would like to look into that one. I'm gonna look into that later. But yeah, no. One thing that I found intriguing is like you said, this was for New York.
I do say that some of a certain portion of them happen in jail, so those guys are going through it.
But what I find interesting is the number is high in New York as to how far it increased. I was looking. Yeah. I usually do a top 10 list, but I didn't write it down. What I did realize was the number of rapes that happened, like the higher what's the word I'm looking for? The higher rates of rape in a state, they're mostly happening on the West Coast. Like Alaska has the most rape. And then I think it's it's like Nevada, Utah, New Mexico. These are all out of order, but mostly the West Coast, where things are kind of like, you would think it's chill, like there's open space, you got stuff to do, and in the cities it's less likely to happen. But I also think it's because the population, there's more people looking out for you in the city than there are in just a small town or something.
Yeah, that's sad, man. All right, let's just get into this. You want to share your story first?
Yeah, sure. So, I have two crazy stories. Hold on, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm smoking. So the first one, I was maybe 19. I wasn't raped at this camp. I'll tell the rape story. It's sexual assault mostly. I was dating someone. We had broken up, and we were still having like friends here and there. He was following me around one day, and I couldn't go home because my block knew him. He was not a good guy for me. And so I paid out of my pocket to get a hotel so I could sleep for a bit before work. Now, we cuddled, whatever. He started trying to do stuff. I was not trying to do that. I was trying to rest and relax so I could go to work. And next thing I know, I'm naked on the ground screaming for help in a hotel room. And he's trying to cover my mouth, and he ends up covering my nose also. And I had to push the sign off me, or Lord knows what would have happened. The second time something had occurred to me. I was living in Jersey with a friend. Oh, well, he's not a friend anymore, you know, just roommate mine.
Wait, hold on. What happened with the guy that did?
Me and him had a really crazy, you know him, Joey, you know. It was really crazy. You know how me and him were. I was young and naive. I got myself into a lot of trouble, but I'm not gonna lie, all of our issues, and you know, we stay in communication. I'm part of his, you know, daughter's life. We're good friends. You know, people can change. Things can change. I will say that. The second story, I did not. There was no befriending after this. What happened was, I was friends with someone. Like, we were close friends. As one of my dance partners at parties and things like that. He had a girlfriend. Now, we did have one time where we slept together, and it kind of just finished what we had started like years before that. It wasn't going to happen again. We agreed it wasn't going to happen again. He comes to visit me, mind you. All I'm thinking is my friends can come through, chill, whatever. And I was so sleep deprived that day. I don't remember why. And I was smoking, so I was high and super tired. He was chilling with my roommate playing video games. So I'm like, I'm going to go to bed because I'm tired. Both lay down. My friend and I sleep in my friend's bed. You know, so I allow them to sleep in bed. And they start stealing up on me. And I'm like, no, like, I have to sleep. Like, I can't move, no. And he's still going. And I'm like, we said we weren't going to do this again, no. And eventually I just shut down. As outspoken as I am, as verbal as I am, I just shut down. Because all I can think to myself is, this is my friend, they should be respecting this. Like, I tell you to do, like, you have those moments. Sometimes don't know what to do. I was debating with my mom, I don't want to overdo that, I don't understand that, you know what? So, it happens. And then he tells me to go to his girlfriend, help the mom, blah, blah, blah. And my first instinct was to call the person who was my best friend at the time, because she knew this person also. And I told her, I was like, you know, it wasn't right. Because she assumed that we were together. Everybody knows I have a very high sex drive, things like that. I'm very outspoken with myself. I don't care. But it makes it very hard for people to believe that these things happen to me. Is because the fact of active on a regular, then how do they know that this was rape?
I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's not okay. It's not okay for people to do. It doesn't matter how. It could be the most promiscuous girl on the planet. No means no, regardless.
So I talked to my best friend, and I'm in shock. I didn't know what to think. So I'm talking to her, and I told her, I was like, I was saying no. And she was like, because she used to call me, she used to be like, Kilala. She was like, she's like, you need to be careful what you're saying, because, you know, it sounds bad. Like, she didn't even want to say the word. No one says this word, because we all know it's a bad word. Like, people say that swear words are bad words. Like, this is a bad word. This is a bad action. And I was like, you know, I said no. I said no, it happened. I don't know how to feel like. And so I confront him about it, because this was my friend. Like I said, this was someone who was close to me, knows my back. He apologizes for a moment, and he's just like, you know, can we not, you know, bring this up? I'm gonna talk. I told him, I was like, you probably have some sort of issue with your girlfriend. Speak about it, but you have not disrespected me this way. And he agrees to it. And then next thing I know, I'm hearing that I'm saying that he raped me or something, but people are telling me that he's saying that I came on to him. Now, it was only me and him in the room, so there's never confirmation. And whoever's friends with him, stay friends with him. Whoever's friends with me, stay friends with me. I told my friends, I was like, I don't care. You know, after you get tired of fighting and trying to let people know that you just stop. You stop. And that goes for anybody fighting for any advocation of any kind. You just stop when you feel like you're not changing anything.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
being friends with him, that's how it is. We fell off, and it hurt. And it's not like I got any redemption, closure, nothing. I just heard that this person took advantage of me, said that I was and he believed it.
I hope you don't talk to any of those people.
Oh, definitely not. It took me a long time to cut off the person who I had called my best friend, because that's a whole nother. Ooh. So at one point, she started sleeping with this person. And I didn't know she was sleeping with him. And for that to be my best friend, I was like, you know, at one point she thought she was getting pregnant. I was like, I'll be there and I'll be there. Like, we were that close. And then for me to it my soul. Like, she did me dirty on multiple occasions. But it hurt me, because she was the one who helped me realize what happened to me. And when she started involving herself with that man, she was like, well, I don't know what really happened to you. I can't say anything, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, for you to switch on me, that doesn't matter. And then I felt really alone. I have told 2 members of the family what happened. One being my father, the other being my uncle. Because men in your family do deserve to know when you're hurt. So that way it can teach them not to hurt people. Like, my family does not hurt women in any form. But my uncle is very promiscuous like I am. So I try to remind him, hey, don't get lost in that. Remember, you wouldn't want anyone to treat the women in your family this way. The same way that Dad had always get treated right. Like my dad always just wants me to be treated right. But I let him know when I'm hurt. That happens. Like I treat myself with the right person.
Yeah. So how did you deal?
It was really hard. Like I would have people inboxing me, and they're like, "Oh, you know, like first of all, I knew that the whole community that we were involved with was, you know, speaking on it at one point because words would get back to me, and I just didn't feel like I had any support in it. You know, like people didn't want to believe that he was. Like I said, even though that was my best friend at one point too. So nobody wanted to believe that this awesome individual would do something like that to someone, and they didn't. And it was hard. So I just had to realize that I wasn't going to get closure, that not everyone was going to believe you. And you know what? So you have to move on from it because there's no other choice but to move on.
And they mean nothing after that anyway. But you're very courageous and you're brave to speak your story today, and I appreciate that, and someone out there is going to appreciate that, and I just, you know, I commend you for that.
Yeah, I think I can't compare stories, but I think just the fact of it was someone who was so close that I trusted who hurt me. You know, I know people who get it.
That's even worse.
That scares the freak out of them. But I think it hurts when it's someone you trust, when someone who's around you knows what you've been through, and
absolutely
they decide to hurt you. Like that was a decision at the end of the day, because it's not like we were drinking. You weren't drunk. We were high. So your decision making gets a little blurry, but you're not stupid when you're high.
Yeah, you still know right from wrong.
Mm-hmm. By the way, when I say high, I just mean marijuana, you guys. I don't do drugs.
Yeah, exactly. There's no excuse. I'm gonna play this message.
Yes.
Those people were never your friend. Never. Cut him like a hot potato. Better yet, put a bullet in his ass.
Hello.
I'm not going to lie. Yes, I was so angry. I wanted to be violent. Like that. Those are things that happen too. Like you have this anger and
you get angry,
violence in you because you want to hurt the person who hurt you, but now you can't. There's no way to get to them. As for wanting to put a bullet in someone, you have those thoughts too. And for some women, they give into that. Me, I always tell people, I'm like, one day I'm gonna be president, so I can't have a rap sheet and I can't have anything that ties to me. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to, wear this with a grain of salt on my chest and just get stronger and just learn who to trust, not to trust, and really observe more. And I did, and it's been. I was maybe 4 or 5 years, 6 years maybe now.
Wow.
Yeah. That just taught me who was there, who wasn't there for me. And that's why, out of every bad thing that happens to you, you learn something good. And one of the things I learned that was good was who really got my back and who doesn't.
I'm gonna play this message and then I'll share with you guys my story.
Just remember, no matter where you are in this country, you have the right to defend yourself anywhere you happen to be.
He's right.
Yeah. And it's also the fact that it was in my own home. So I definitely could have, he took advantage of the fact that I was weak. That's what it was. I'm straight up telling you no over and over again. I was able to verbalize myself, but I couldn't function physically. And you took advantage of that. And you apologized, but then turned your back. It's just, and I want to be like, men are horrible, but it's not even just men. Women do it too, and it's freaking terrible. No means no. I think how I tell people saving naked pictures of people is creepy because you don't have I feel like you don't have a right to save pictures of someone if you had never had a chance in the beginning. Get it?
In case there's any doubts of why people actually commit these heinous crimes, I'm gonna clear that up for you guys. Causes of sexual violence. There are many theories explaining the causes of sexual violence. The theories that will be discussed with me include military conquest, there's socioeconomics, anger, power, sadism, traits, ethical standards, laws, and evolutionary pressures that lend some explanation to causes of sexual violence such as rape, molestation, sexual harassment, stalking. Most of the research that causes of sexual violence has only been done on male offenders, largely ignored female perpetrated sexual violence as well, and this is in no way fully developed. There's anger and rage rape. There's power assertive rapists. There is sadistic rape. There's cognitive and attitudinal biases. There's neuropsychological processes. There's deviance, sexual preferences, personality disorders, and traits. And the list goes on and on. But a great majority of those fucks, it's all about power and having a victim. So don't ever feel sorry for them, especially if you're a victim. It's not your fault at all. So when this happened to me, I spent a long time of my life on the streets. I left home at a very young age, and I was homeless for a lot of years. And I know how it is to live on the streets, to just know the street and that there's nothing else. I've been out there, and it was the worst time of my life. I've been through so much shit during that amount of time. I was 12 years old when I left home, and I think
it's okay. Take a moment if you have to. You guys, just so you know, me and Goddess, we met each other during really tough times in our lives. So the fact that our friendship has, stood through all of that, I have to commend this woman. She's gone through a lot, but she succeeds every day and continues to succeed and move forward. So I needed to give you this credit because you needed that. You worked through everything.
I appreciate that. It's just longer than 10 years I was on the street. I know the streets very well. I would never want to go back, and I had to learn how to survive from an early age. So one particular night, it was really cold out. It was winter time. I couldn't find anywhere to go that night, and I just had to settle for a staircase in the projects, in a really bad projects. And I got comfortable and I fell asleep, which I wouldn't normally stay asleep because if I'm not somewhere where I feel safe, but I fell asleep, and I woke up and I had a gun to the back of my head.
Wow.
And he told me to pull my pants down, not to say a word, that he'll blow my fucking brains out. And all I know is that this person was of dark skin color. And he used a condom. Thankfully, he did that. And when he was done, he just told me, stay on the ground with your face down for 10 minutes. And, he left. And I was young. I was really young, and I was just broken. And I didn't go to the police.
You just, I didn't know what to do.
I stood away from that area. I haven't gone back since, actually.
What area was it in? Do you mind if I ask?
I felt like this happened in Cortland projects. Cortland in the Bronx. I had thoughts of going back to look for him myself. I got a weapon, and I had those thoughts. I had those thoughts because I knew there was no catching this person. There was nothing I could even give the police. He covered his tracks, so to speak. He used a condom, and there was nothing. I wouldn't recollect a voice. Like, I did nothing about it, and I just had to live with that. And for a long time, it was really hard. And being that I have also been raped as a child, I already had a complex where men can do what they want with you, and it took me till I was in my early 20s to figure out to myself that this is not okay, and men shouldn't be allowed to touch me when they want to. Mm-hmm. And I pretty much I got through that in life myself I've talked to professionals, and they've told me, we really don't know how you didn't end up on drugs or dead or anything or worse, because most people will fucking flip the fuck out. And I'm just a firm believer that I'm just strong like my mother was. And
God rest her soul.
I don't know. I'm a survivor. And I haven't talked about that in a really long time. And it's just giving me anxiety even thinking about it. It's a terrible thing what these people take away from innocent people. What those people are left to deal with. And
do you mind
you're just pure scum. You're trash. You're a fucking piece of shit of the earth. It's disgusting. Those people seriously have psychological problems with them to even be able to do something like that.
So, can I ask you, how were your interactions with just your normal people around you after that?
Nobody seen me for a while. I kind of just stood to myself for a while. It's a weird feeling. It's just like I didn't want to deal with nobody. I wanted to just crawl under a fucking rock. I didn't reach out to anybody for support. I didn't tell anybody for a really long time. My family still doesn't know about it.
How did you feel about yourself afterwards? What was your thought about what did you have the thoughts of I could have done something, or what did you think? What was?
I was only upset at myself I felt like I put myself in a situation that I was vulnerable that night. I was like, I was tired. I didn't know where to go. I should have found somewhere better. I should have never been there. And I didn't have nothing to protect myself.
Yeah.
At that point, I was just thankful that he didn't shoot the gun.
And I think we're all grateful for that.
But at the same time, feeling like I wish he did, because the life at that point was just unlivable.
Oh man.
I just think about the people who are not as strong as us, who are affected by this in a way that debilitates them forever.
Yeah.
And those are the people that I hope will listen and understand that there are ways to cope and get through. Moving towards recovery from rape can be a long, difficult process, but you got to be patient with yourself. Each person has a different way of coping as well and healing. Some people want to carry on with their routine, and others find it helpful to take time off of their responsibilities. There are ways you can seek support from your family and friends.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Like that's basically what I want to touch base on. Is there is always someone who will listen to you, whether it is a professional, professional help, or there's someone in your family, like I don't survivors. There we go. By the way, another thing is I do not like the term victim. I don't. It makes you sound weak. I like people don't like victims, right?
I don't either.
I love the word survivor because that is what you did. You survived something that is traumatic. It made you stronger, and that is what a survivor is: someone who can go through something hard and come out stronger in the end. So anyone listening to this and who can relate to this, I give you all your credit for where you are, for what for what you're striving for, and I hope you're all progressing. But trying to get back to where I was before all of that. Yeah. Oh yeah. So there's always someone who's willing to listen. Like at first, I didn't know how my family would react when I told them. I knew what my dad was gonna be, angry, things like that. And I told my dad while he was drunk, so I really thought like I was gonna get it. But I was also kind of hoping that he was drunk enough to forget the next day. He did not forget.
Yeah.
To react.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then with my uncle, so much time had passed before I told anybody. Like I told my dad 3 years after it happened, and then I just told my uncle like this year. So they can't really do anything to begin with when it's already a dead issue to you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell it straight up, but not like I don't mean it with offense. This is for anybody. God forbid in the future go through this. Always go to the cops, even if there's no evidence, nothing. Just go for the off chance.
Yeah.
You can still catch it. Like there's always that 1% chance, and you pray and hope for that 1% chance.
And another thing is that these offenders, there's almost always repeat offenders. So you gotta think about somebody else. Would you want somebody else going through this? That should be your main reason for pursuing, law enforcement.
Do you want to hear a crazy story? So a couple of years back, there was a news story about a woman in Central Park being assaulted by a man. And when I found out who the man was, first of all of the Bronx knew this man. And it was one of my exes, and I was like, I felt disgusted with myself that I was ever attracted to that human being. I was like,
oh my gosh.
And it's not like he ever did anything wrong to me. Like he was sweet to me. It's just he was an extra individual. He had a bad rep, and like after a while, I was just like, I'm not with the vibes, right? Like nothing bad. We ended on good terms, but then he went on with his life. And to see that I made such a good decision, and then he did something like that to someone else, it horrified me. It horrified me because I'm just like, what if I had stayed with this person? What kind of situation would I gotten into? Or like what, and then I also get that little bit of guilt of, gee, I wonder if we had stayed together, would I have made him a better person enough to not have done something like that? So people's actions affect so many different thought frames that they don't even understand that they affected that many people with just one action.
Right.
Like it's ridiculous how like this is something that should be bigger than most people make it. And then they question why women go insane, why they go for revenge. Because it's something that physically changes you. It's something that mentally changes you, emotionally changes you. Like, you can't trust people after something like that. It's become closed off, become distant. And then sometimes you become vindictive yourself. You become so swallowed up with bad entities and energy that you start hurting people. Because one famous phrase that's going around now is hurt people hurt people.
Yeah. Or you just shut any possibility of anything out.
Like there could be a great person in your face and you don't see them because you're so scared of what they might do wrong. Just so you guys know, like you already see Goddess in her relationship and how that goes. I am in a relationship with a woman that is long distance right now, but if I did anything that women have done wrong to me about me, I wouldn't have opened up myself to an individual who tries so hard to be a better person every day. And then there's also a man who right now I'm speaking to, and he is a great, wonderful individual that comes into me, and things are working out. We've been talking for going on 2 months, maybe, or going on a month.
Yeah.
But yes, so hopefully our success story also motivates you guys and inspire you guys in some manner, because it doesn't leave you in that stuck in a rut. It happens, you get stuck in it for a bit, but you will overcome it. You will feel better after a while. It sucks now, but I guarantee you guys it gets better.
Right. So, like I said, seek support from families and friends, or you can consider actual counseling from a professional, or even try a support group. Those, I've actually tried that route, and it does help with other people, who have gone through similar. Recovery from rape can be a slow process. You might find that it has permanently changed your life in some ways. As you go through the stages of recovery, you'll find that in time you think less and less about it. It will no longer dominate your emotions as you set goals and achieve them. Life will eventually move forward, but it all starts with you, and you can take as much time as you need, but don't allow it to suck up and just completely take over your life. There are resources. They have the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Web Network. They got the Women's Health and U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. We got Safe Horizon. If you could Google these things, but there's tons and tons of support out there. You just have to reach out. And
help is not just limited to your therapist, but it can also be your doctor. It can be a counselor, like for the younger people. There's, like I said, always someone who's willing to listen. I know that you guys may feel like you don't have friends in those moments. I guarantee you, if you look for someone, they're willing to listen. You just gotta be willing to fight.
Yeah. Oh, you hear the music?
Yeah.
I didn't know what it did. I think I pressed that not even. I pressed it probably 20 minutes ago, and now it just went off. The new features here. Sorry, guys.
I don't have access to the music.
So, okay, yeah. So it's a music thing. I just clicked it to see what it did, and all right. Well, I think I'm done with the subject today.
Yeah, this is emotional. I think we're good.
I want to thank you guys for sticking by. I know it's not easy to listen to either. We appreciate the support, and you guys already know BMF Goddess on YouTube. Please subscribe, and thanks for being here. Kiara, thank you again. She'll be back. And maybe I'll see Miss Carlene listening. Carlene will join us next time with something.
Oh yeah, definitely. She has no choice now.
Good night, guys. Good night, and may the force be with y'all.
Night, guys.